So that's the first reason that we should be thankful and live a life of contentment. Let's look at the second reason now. 1 Timothy 6, verse 9. He says, people who want to get rich fall into temptation and into many foolish and harmful desires. Temptation and a trap, and many foolish and harmful desires that plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Second reason that we should live a life of thanksgiving and contentment is because discontentment is very, very dangerous. Now here he says people who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap. Well, people want to get rich because they don't have that godliness with contentment. If they don't have that godliness with contentment, they don't have that great gain in their life, and they're looking for some type of gain. They're not thankful for the blessings they do have, and so they think they deserve more. And the result is it's a trap. They go off looking for money or for pleasure or for things, and they waste their life on it because those things only bring temporary happiness. And he says here, some people eager for money have wandered away from the faith. When a person is ungrateful, they're unhappy. And when they're unhappy, they look for things to make them happy. If they do that enough, then acquiring those things, that becomes the focus of their life. And eventually, they just kind of wander away from Christ because they replace him with something that they think is more important. In Matthew 19, verse 21, we see a similar story to that. Jesus is addressing a rich young man. He tells him, if you want to be perfect, go, sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. When the young man heard this, he went away sad because he had great wealth. Now that's a sad story. The man was so attached to the things of the world. He had so much greed, so much desire for things that he walked away from a Savior who loved him. Many of our spiritual problems come from discontentment. People aren't content with what they have, so they lie or cheat or steal to get more. A person isn't happy with their salary, so they lie on their taxes to try to get more money, all the time thinking, well, I deserve this. They're jealous for a political office, so they'll spread slander and lie about their opponent in order to get what they want. If they're not content with what they have, they get greedy and they start wanting things that other people want, and they steal it, or they stage a big protest on Wall Street until they get everything they want. In James chapter 4, verse 2, he tells us, you want something, but you don't get it. You kill and covet, but you cannot have what you want. You quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. That kind of selfish desire for just the things that I want, that's what eventually motivates me and tempts me to kill, to covet, to lie, to steal, to fight, to quarrel. That's the danger in it all. You know, if everyone in the world would just be thankful for what they have, the world would really be a much better place. The saying is true, contentment makes poor men rich, discontentment makes rich men poor. In the 5th century AD, there was a man named Irenaeus. And now, Irenaeus isn't an exceptionally well-known person, but he was what you called a desert father. During the 3rd and 4th century AD, Christianity was persecuted, but persecution had just stopped, and Christians now had a lot of religious freedom, and they could relax and ease up a little bit. And the result was some secularism, a lot of materialism started to creep into the church and cause some problems. Now there were a group of men who separated, and they were called themselves the Desert Fathers. They left society and they went to live out in the desert by themselves. Not in a group of people, individual people living out in the desert, just separating from society because they were tired of the materialism that was taking place. Well, in the 5th century, there was a desert father named Irenaeus, and he was determined to live a holy life. And so he left his country of Egypt, and he went out to live in the desert. And as he was there, he would stay there for years and years, but he would come every now and then to a town called Alexandria, a big city, and he would walk through the marketplace where everyone was selling everything, and he'd walk around and just look at the things in the marketplace. And that's strange because he was supposed to be living a life free of materialism. Why was he walking and looking at things in the marketplace? Well, someone finally asked him one day, and he gave his response. He said his heart rejoiced at the sight of all the things that he didn't need. The man was content. He knew he had what he needed, and he was happy with it. So, how do we avoid discontentment? If discontentment is so dangerous, how do we avoid it? Well, provided that you have what you need to live on, realize that what you have is enough and be happy with that. Hebrews 13, verse 5 says, "Keep your lives free from the love of money, and be content with what you have, because God has said, 'Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you.'" If I can paraphrase that, he says, you have God. What more do you need? He's never going to leave you, so you're set for life. You don't need anything else. Also, keep in mind that contentment begins with thankfulness. Count your blessings. And we already talked about that, so I won't go onto that now. But insist on being thankful and insist on being content, because discontentment is very dangerous. Everyone should strive to live a life of thanksgiving and contentment. But why should I? Why should I be thankful? Why can't I just say, I deserve everything I have, thanks for nothing, God? Because I am blessed so immensely. To believe anything other than that would be completely foolish. And because discontentment is a dangerous thing, I have what I need, I shouldn't desire, I shouldn't have to have more. So, some families have a tradition at Thanksgiving. I don't know if yours does or not. But when you sit down to eat your meal, you go around the table and you have to list one thing that you're thankful for. I don't know if your family does that, but if they do, I'll tell you what I hope for you. I hope that when it comes to your turn and someone asks you, what are you thankful for? I hope your mind is so flooded with blessings and answers that you don't know how to answer it. You don't know what to say. And I hope that that continues to be a problem for you every single day for the rest of your life, because we should all be living a life of complete thanksgiving